If your legs are getting weak, it's not just a cosmetic thing. That's a real issue for your health. Healthy longevity depends on having healthy, strong leg muscles. Give me 1 minute and 56 seconds twice a day, and I'll give you at least a decade of healthy longevity. Okay, let's start with the first exercise. It's simple. Most of us have heard them. Most of us have done them, especially by the time we're a boomer. They're called calf raises. I'm going to turn around and hold on to the stair rail for these first two exercises. Now, the simplest, easiest beginner version is from the floor with two legs. Then as you get better at doing that, you can do 20 or 30 of them. Then you start doing it with one leg. And then as you get better and stronger, you get more stretch. You do two legs and then one leg. And what I do now is I'm up to 40 of these in each leg, one leg on the stair. Very simple. These things will improve your balance and they'll improve your calorie burn. There's a thing called soleus or gastrocnemius push-ups. Even when you're sitting after a meal, if you push or fire these muscles, it can lower your blood sugar. Gastroc push-ups or soleus push-ups. So there you go. Here's something that's interesting. Bodybuilders teach beginners to train their legs first. Why? Because strong legs release key hormones like testosterone and growth hormone and things called myokines that help our entire body, not just the legs. You see, leg exercises, especially those compound movements like squats, lunges, and stair climbing, target some of the largest muscle groups in the body, your quads, your glutes, your calves. These muscles require a lot of energy to move, and when you work them hard, your body releases a range of hormones and myokines that help improve your muscle mass, your strength, and your metabolism. While we've talked about growth hormone and testosterone, leg exercises also greatly impact other hormones too, like insulin and cortisol. And I'm just going to give you a couple of quick reminders. We'll get into the details later. The split squat is more where your weight is on the front leg, but you're bending your back leg. A lunge is different. With a lunge, your back leg, your knee is more straight. You get more of a stretch here and in your hip. With both of them, you get this distal quad fibers. And just a reminder, when you look these up, like Jesus did, and the opinions he got was, these are for strength, they're for core strength, balance, stability. Well, balance and stability is important because I probably don't have to tell most of my viewers how important it is when somebody breaks a hip. You get like 50% disability with a broken hip. And a quarter of people are dead within a couple of years after a hip fracture. So we don't want to fall. That is important. But we want to focus on the mitochondria and the capillaries in our leg muscles. That's going to be our safest, best internal safety valve against the progression, the inevitable progression of metabolic disease as we age into our boomer years and beyond. So again, in some other clips, we'll show what I usually do. I usually do a version of the split squat on the stairs because I go up and down the stairs multiple times a day. Now, let's look here, though. You can do it on the floor without any prep. Speaking of prep, let me make a point that I think is critical. Most people think of working out means going to the gym, which means taking these clothes off, putting gym clothes on, driving across town, standing behind the line, waiting for machines. If that's your only version of muscle exercise, as you get into your boomer years, you're doomed. You got to have something that's quick and easy. We call them exercise snacks. As I said before, I do a session in the morning right after I wake up and a session in the evening right before I go to bed. And I know people will criticize and say, you can't do exercises before you go to bed. These little easy exercises, once you get used to them, you can go to bed. They will help you sleep. So next we're going to do squats, or it's basically like a one-legged squat or a split squat. Or the reality is it's just climbing the stairs, the same exercise that you do, the same motion that you do in climbing the stairs. Now, I'm doing this on the third stair. You'll see why in just a minute. But there's no need to go all the way up to the top for this. Just go at one of the bottom stairs. And what you're doing, you're starting to get some firing of these fibers and these fibers, this muscle, the distal quad and the glute. Now, after you get, do that for a couple of months if you're not used to this, and then you could skip a step. And when you start skipping a step, you're going lower and creating much more burn here in the distal fibers of the quad and here in the gluteus. Now, I'm at the point now where I do 10 of those at 2 steps. I'm not strong enough to go to 3 steps, but I am touching my toe down to the bottom of that second step. And you can see I'm starting to breathe heavy because I'm starting to get some significant firing of these muscles. Notice what I have on. I don't have gym clothes. If you have to drive across town or even just change your clothes to work out, you're probably not working out enough. And for you boomers, you might notice the all black here with the short sleeves. Who's that remind you of? Jack LaLanne? You remember him? What, 50, 60 years ago? Now, let's talk about something crucial. Mitochondria. Your legs are full of mitochondria, and these little powerhouses determine how much energy you have. Strong legs mean more mitochondria, better glucose regulation, more stamina, and most of all, a healthier, longer life. This is crucial because more mitochondria burn the cell's energy. And the more mitochondria you have, the more efficient your body uses glucose for energy and manages it. When you work your legs hard, your body becomes more efficient at using glucose for energy. This can prevent or improve prediabetes, and it's one of the most effective ways to combat insulin resistance and diabetes. For women, strengthening your legs can also positively influence estrogen levels. Estrogen levels are crucial in maintaining healthy metabolic function and supporting overall hormone balance as we age. This is why people with weak legs are at a higher risk for diabetes. Your legs don't just move you, they manage your body's energy and healthy longevity. So now we're going to talk a little bit about lunges, and you'll see why I don't do lunges. I used to do a lot of lunges. I did lunges with a lot of weight, and there's a couple of challenges with lunges. One is they tend to arch your back a lot. Another is it can be a little bit more of a challenge for balance. A third is it's just not quick and easy like the split squats or step squats that I do on the stairs. So with a lunge, you do the same thing as you do with a split squat, except the difference, as I said before, is you keep that back leg knee straight. So you go down like that. Again, you get into that same question about knees over toes. I know it's hard to see straight on, but we want to get both views. Here's the side view for the lunge versus the split squat. Again, same first movement. The second movement is keeping that back knee straight. And as you see, that pushes this issue of knees over toes even more, unless you move that back foot much further back. You'll also see, again, maybe a little bit more challenging for balance. Now, the advantage, though, is you do get a lot more groin in both groins, a little bit more stretch in both the groins and the thighs while you're doing the exercise. And yes, I fully expect to get a lot of corrections and you're doing it wrong. And we've talked about that in a couple of places. I'm not going to talk about that again right now. So another side view showing this problem with getting your torso straight, but also not arching your back. That is a little bit of a challenge. Again, sometimes that challenge is good, and you may be at a place where you want to do a lot of that. Now, these can get very, very aggressive, rigorous. You ever heard of a walking lunge? If you look at the training programs for guys like the defensive tackles of professional football teams, you'll see them doing walking lunges with major weights and barbells on their back. So again, it's like this motion. Lots of balance, lots of hip, lots of just overall body workout, but major lower body strength. And you can hear me starting to breathe just from my little version of it. So again, practicality of those moves. Defensive tackles on a pro football team need it because of what they're doing. But look, we need it too, just to get out of bed, to get back into bed, to tie our shoes, to put our pants on, to go upstairs, and to come back down. Don't rush through these. Do slow, controlled movements because that's where you're going to get the slow, controlled ability to go through these exercises on a regular basis. And as I've said before, it's not just about avoiding falls. It's even more so about avoiding that inevitable progression of metabolic disease. These are your best internal safety valves against aging. And just a quick point about having support. Again, these movements challenge balance. Just a quick light chair. This is not a heavy chair at all. And it's very, very helpful for balance and avoiding a fall while you're doing these exercises. That's one of the reasons I do them on the stairs, because you have the stair rail to use for balance. But you can also end up doing a little bit of a cowboy walk if you get those too sore. It'll be okay. Notice that all three of these exercises are things that you can do, for example, every time you go up and down the stairs. You can go do it once a day, twice a day, 4 times a day. And that's a good thing, especially when we get past age 60 to 65. Muscle loss at that point, especially in these big muscles of the body, is a major killer and disabler. And getting good muscles here, metabolically active muscles, increasing those mitochondria inside the muscles will save your life. By now, you should already know how important it is to work your legs hard. But let's pause and clarify this. Working your legs isn't just about bulking up. It's about improving metabolism, increasing muscle tone, and ensuring your body functions efficiently, and ensuring that you have healthy longevity. The metabolic changes triggered by leg exercises don't just build muscle. They support overall muscle health, which is crucial for healthy aging. But what if you have knee or hip pain or disability? That's really not a problem for strength, and you can modify this. If full squats hurt, do a partial version. If lunges feel unstable, use a chair for balance. The key is finding a version that works for you. Even if you use a wheelchair, you can strengthen your legs. Seated leg lifts and resistance bands can work wonders. It's never too late to build strength. The important thing is to start. And once you start, keep it up. Your life depends on it. Hey, this is a bonus. You ever heard of Rucking? You may have remember that song if you're a boomer. Fall de ree, fall de ra, something like that. And then it says something about my rucksack on my back. A rucksack is a heavy backpack. You can do it. You can get these weight vests from places like Amazon. I forgot how much this one was, but it's 40 pounds. Don't start with 40 pounds. Just didn't want to take all the weights out to get down to like 10. Most people, even if you're a very small female who's not done a lot of this, can get used to 10 pounds pretty quickly. And then you'll be surprised at how quickly you can increase weight. So here's another thing to think about. You know, you hear often how people that lose weight, like 30, 40 pounds, they lose a lot of muscle. That's absolutely true. Whether you're doing it with the Ozempic or Mounjaro, the weight medicines, or just doing it through lifestyle, you lose a lot of muscle. Once you start walking and rucking with 30 and 40 pounds, you'll understand completely why that happens. So the reverse of that is, as you get thinner, lose that body fat, start rucking, and you're going to protect these critical muscles. These muscles are your best internal safety valve against undiagnosed or diagnosed prediabetes, insulin resistance, diabetes. So the concept here is exercise snacks. You want to stimulate these big muscles, especially at least once a day. It's not a big workout, it's a tiny workout, but it's enough to get that muscle stimulated. I created the video that you just watched because I have a passion about educating and empowering people like you to take charge of your health. It's the same reason why I created our metabolic risk assessment. This at-home assessment kit contains everything you need to work with one of our coaches to understand the details. It gives you a comprehensive picture and details of your metabolic health status. Using this information and the report that we develop, you'll spend an hour with one of our health coaches to understand your own unique metabolic needs and strengths. Now, all of this equipment is high quality. It's not throwaway stuff. You'll continue to use this for assessments and training during your metabolic health journey. And here's all the information that your coach will review with you from the report. Retail labs and online services charge over $500 for this. And here's the other thing. Those other tests don't even include the most important components, like the oral glucose tolerance test or the grip test. My at-home metabolic risk kit only costs $169.50. Yes, that's right, $169.50, less than $200. If you want to help a family member or friend, you can get an additional box. It's just $119.99. Our goal is to train and help 500 people just this month. We're well on our way. Let's hope one of those is you. Use the link below to start your metabolic health journey now. Let's sum it up. 3 exercises: calf raises, stair squats or split squats, and lunges. These will keep you mobile, balanced, and strong. To know more about how to unclog your arteries, watch this.